shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you are behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages of vacant. Modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome into Big 12 Fan Zone. I'm Joey Foster. Over there is Shane. What's going on, Shane? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I'll tell you what. I've changed my mind a number of times on this coach ranking, and it's been a fun roller coaster ride. Joe, you think you could just pick these coaches willy nilly and be done with it? But some of them have really good winning percentages, but just don't seem to have the zeal, that you think they should have to go with.
Right. And another thing too, like some of them, they have good winning percentages, but they were FCS mostly, I mean, and you can't look at that like as an FCS. And then even the ones that are some of the FBS, a lot of their winning percentage came while they were in a group of five school, an FBS school, but still a group of five school. So there's not a lot that have power, that have some power football and power four football.
But I have some like caveats, some little like exceptions, and I'll point that out as we go through, because I think these little asterisks make the coach a lot more presentable as passing the eyeball test, as a fan,
Yeah. So I'm going to let everyone know real quick. We do have over on the West Virginia channel with Voice College Football. We're streaming on a couple of channels here. We're streaming on the Big 12 channel and the West Virginia channel. On the West Virginia channel, you can become a member of the channel by clicking the join button. And Jackson's going around putting the different tier levels in, so you can join for $1.99 a month. That's that's the lowest. That's the lowest tier, and you can go up to $14.99 a month. Now the difference is $1.99 a month is going to get you to be able to watch our member only streams and just hang out in the member only streams or whatever, because we're going to be having quite a bit of this. I came up with an idea today that I'm going to start doing some member only streams. So we have, if anybody watched the show the other night with Frank Peter Wednesday night, had Tony Caridi on, right? While that show was great and everybody got to watch it, that next time when that show comes around with Tony Caridi, or I do an interview with Tony Caridi, it will be on the members section probably. It will probably, not guaranteeing it. We'll have some things on here, obviously, but we have a lot of interviews coming up with a lot of coaches, a lot of players, and I mean, you wouldn't believe we're scheduled for the next several weeks. And as a matter of fact, just next week, we have Josh Eilert coming on for on Frank Fear's show on Wednesday night. Josh Eilert, who was the interim head coach of basketball for West Virginia, got us through the season. He's a great man, he's a great family man. Him and his wife are going to be on with Frank Fear and Coach Chris on Wednesday night. So everybody look tuned in for that. All right, let's get to these rankings here because I've talked enough. Sorry about that. Now, here's what I looked at.
Sure. You got to think of this, ladies and gentlemen. If you pay $1.99, we're going to guarantee, you get your question asked, if it's appropriate, of course, in these chats. So if you're a member and you come on and we see you made a comment, we're going to be sure to acknowledge your comments. So for $2, you can ask Tony Caridi a question.
Yeah, and then also like I said, we're going to have Josh Eilert on next Wednesday. We have. I'm just going to tell you who some of the people we have coming up are. Okay, so we reached out to WVU today to get an interview with Chad Scott and Jordan Leslie. I do know we have Gerald Talley coming on soon. I don't want to spoil this. I'm not going to bust the bubble. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to want to be in a lot of these things because I'm talking. We have some huge people coming up, great NFL stars, that are coming in. Like I say, we're going to have also Jeff Hostetler. So it's going to be amazing. Next couple of months, you're going to have to want to be a member. All right, so here's what I did on my coach's ranking. This is what I looked at. A lot of things was just the smell test, right? How did I feel about it? Because these are my rankings, and he's got his own rankings. Mine are just more or less the smell test. Does that coach seem like to me that he's going to do a good job? Is he building something? Does it look sustainable? How's his recruiting? Recruiting's a big thing with me. How's the recruiting? And how's the climb going at wherever he's at? Are they improving? Or are they decreasing? Then I look at a resume and I also looked at like who's the best coach right now, like who's the hottest, who's doing the best job with what little bit he has, right? And then expectations. I looked at expectations, like for instance, last year West Virginia exceeded expectations by a lot. They were picked 14th, they finished 4th. So Neil Brown exceeded everybody's expectations. They got him a pretty good boost in my ranking. And then just overall, how good are they right now, and how good are they projected to be in 2024 coming back? And that's how I've rated mine. Did you have a criteria you went by, Shane?
It was similar. First I looked at the winning percentage, and I'm going to go over that just as I'm going through my list. I'm like, this person finished number 8 for the winning percentage, but I picked them 12. Here's the thing. If you're at a small program, or if you go to a Division I program that's a dumpster fire, and you turn it around and you have sustained success for 2 years, that is a big deal. Okay. And then, TCU, of course, went to the championship and lost. Then last year they're 5-7. That comes into the equation. Yeah. Are they on a downslide, or, the precipice is so high, anything short of a championship is a failure. That, expectations have to meet reality. And the main thing, guys and gals, is if I were a coach, would I want to coach against them? And if the answer is no to the hell no, they go to the top of my list. So that's my criteria.
All right. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you who my 16th place coach is and why, and then Shane will tell you what his 16th place coach is and why. And here's one other thing I do want to say. So a couple of weeks ago, we ranked the top 5 coaches in the Big 12. Ignore those because this is kind of like different metrics. I use completely different metrics. These are who I think. This is my actual list from top to bottom.
Yeah.
This is what I believe top to bottom. Those ones we did the other day, we didn't really use any metrics. We just more or less used the smell test and just went by what we thought. So here we go. At number 16, I've got Deion Sanders of Colorado. He won 2 Southwest Conference titles his last 2 seasons at Jackson State, which is good, right? But let's face it, he didn't face any Power 4 football teams, that's for sure. As an FBS coach, though, he's got 1 season under his belt and he had 4 wins. And for the hype around Deion Sanders and the hype around the program, and then they brought in all them great players last year that fizzled out, didn't do much. Now he's doing it again this year. I'm a firm believer you can't build a team by the transfer portal. So I had to put Deion at 16 simply because he's not recruiting high schools. He's not building a team the right way, in my opinion, and I don't think it'll ever work. So I think Deion's doomed himself for failure, and I'm putting him at 16th.
That's a great pick. I'll tell you that's a good one. Okay, you want to know why Deion's not number 16 for me?
Yeah,
because he played in the World Series and he's prime. No, I have Kenny Dillingham in Arizona State. Okay, bottom of the Big 12 rankings. But I think Arizona State has done a course correction and they're moving in the right direction. And your argument for Deion being 16 is probably a better argument than for me having Kenny at 16, because Kenny went 3-9 last year without nearly the talent that Prime had.
Right.
Okay. So, but I'm putting him there just because I'm kind of jealous because he looks so young for his 34 years. Maybe he's a vampire and we don't know it, but he looks good for his age. And, and he's an Arizona native, so he's gonna recruit, and it's just a matter of time. But he's only had 1 year of to go off of, so that's why he's at the bottom. So
all right,
because of that, I'll jump ahead and talk about Deion at 15.
Okay, go ahead. But I was going to tell you, I don't think that's bad. Now I've got him a lot higher than that. So.
No, I can see that. So there's an argument for that, but man, he looked like he was gonna just fresh out the gate last year. We talked about it. I was excited. I was buying into the Prime time. I watched the Amazon Prime show. Man, it's just so mesmerizing just to sit there like a fly on the wall and see what goes on behind closed doors when you walk into a new program. That is I don't understand how they only got a few episodes out of that, but they should have done more. But, his son, he's talented, but then again, he's wearing like a $45,000 watch. I kind of hate on a kid that's doing that. And then, guys, I just don't know what to say. Travis Hunter, in the portal class, Deion is a slow motion train wreck at this point, and I'm just waiting for the train to come off the tracks. But then again, half of me wants to see it make it safe. It's just like watching a shit movie.
Well, so 15, I have Scott Satterfield from Cincinnati. He did win 3 straight Sun Belt titles, but that's the Sun Belt, right? I mean, Sun Belt's good conference. Don't get me wrong. There's some really good teams in there, but it's the Sun Belt. He wasn't playing Power 5 football. He wasn't up against them. Now, he does have 3 FBS conference championships too. But at Cincinnati now, just not tearing it up, just not looking good, not recruiting well. Cincinnati's just not. This looks like they're going to be a basement dweller in this conference going forward right now. So I couldn't do anything with Scott. So I just stuck him at 15, simply because they're going to be picked to finish dead last in this conference this year. There's no doubt in my mind. Now, can they do like West Virginia did last year and fool everybody? I think it's possible. I just don't think it's likely, because Cincinnati's, let's face it, they're not West Virginia, right? They've not been in the Power 5 program for their whole life. They're new to it. So they've got a lot to learn, a lot to recruit, to build back up to it. And I had to put him down there. So Scott Satterfield at 15 for me. All right, I'll move on to my number 14, which I've got Kenny Dillingham here from Arizona State. I've got him at 14. His biggest win was over UCLA when he beat them 17-7. Let's face it, UCLA's a basketball school, right? I mean, it's not like they have a powerful football program year in and year out. They were ranked last year. They had a good team last year, but it's UCLA, so I can't give them a lot there. Congratulations, you're averaging 3 wins per year because you've been there 1 year and you won 3 games. Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State, I got it 14, and can he turn them around? Now Arizona State's been a dumpster fire for a while before Kenny Dillingham got there, so he's only had 1 season. Let's give him a chance. Let's see if he can turn it around. Not even have season. So let's just see if he can turn it around. But I'm going to put him at 14 right now, and see what everybody thinks. So, all right.
Well, Joey, I'll tell you what. I think we're on the same wavelength. I have Scott Satterfield. Okay. Man. 3-9. I mean, we keep harping on that, but he did have a good run for what, 2013 to 18 at, where was he, Appalachian State? Was he at Appalachian? I think he was at Appalachian State. But I mean, he wasn't even there long enough to get a degree at Louisville, and he barely had a winning percentage. He was like 25 and 24. So, I mean, you hire a guy that struggled at Louisville to come to Cincinnati. I just don't understand the logic behind the hire when they brought him in, but that's neither here nor there. He's at 14, and he could very easily be at 16 for me.
Yeah, he could. All right. So who you have 13?
Brennan from Arizona. He walks into a decent spot. I mean, he's going into, the cupboards aren't completely empty. A lot of the kids moved on with the coach to Washington, but he still has some skill players there that are productive. I think he came from San Jose State, and they weren't great, but I think they hired him because he can recruit, the California area, and he did win a Mountain West title in 2020, but he's kind of like in the middle. He's not bad. He's not good. He just hasn't made a name for himself yet, other than he needs to win some big time college ball. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, on mine for 13, I've got Dave Aranda of Baylor. Now, Dave Aranda, I think's a good coach, but he kind of like fell apart after 2021. Won the Big 12 championship in 2021, top 5 in the AP, finished in the top 5.
Yeah.
He's had 23 wins as an FBS coach, with a 47.9 winning percentage. And I'm sorry, Dave, for the last several years, you've just been really bad. And I can't help it. I had to put Dave Aranda at 13. I think Dave Aranda is the hottest coaching seat in the country this year. I really do. And like Neil Brown last year, this is about where I would have had Neil Brown last year, honestly, before he had a great season. This is about where I would have had Neil Brown last year. So Baylor fans don't feel bad. I would have put Neil Brown here last year, and
Yeah,
he's bumped way up this year, especially with the additions of some new teams and some new coaches. So Neil Brown's bumped way up. Dave Aranda can redeem himself this year and be way up there next year. So that's where I have Dave Aranda's 13.
I have him at 12. Joey, I have him at 12. I mean, yeah, it is. I think it's a make or break year for the guy. 2-7 in the COVID year, and then he went 12-2 the next year and won the Big 12. So he's not far away from being the man, but people in college football have a short memory, and especially with the stars realigning and conference seismic shifts that are happening, you have to have your ducks in a row. And when someone comes a knock, and they're not going to say, well, you were 4 years ago, you were the shit. They're going to be like, well, you've been a dumpster fire for 3 years, and Dave, you better get your house in order, because this is the year. I mean, if you have all the tools, you have your stadium's 10 years old, everything's brand new and shiny. People can get a suntan on a boat, tailgate, grill some wieners, and go in. It's a fantastic place to play ball. And I don't understand. I don't understand what has happened. What secret sauce is missing that you went from, winning the Big 12 title at 12-2 to literally being, overlooked on schedules. Like
Not they didn't just win the Big 12 championship. They finished in the AP top 5.
Yes, they were good. And now we're like, they'll win. We go through the Magic 8 Ball, picks them to lose every time.
Yeah. And I believe it. So I had Dave Brennan at 13. You had him 12. Now my 12 is Brent Brennan, Arizona. You had Brent at 13. Yep. So Brent is my 12. He's got 2 Mountain West championships, and that's really good. Just coming in, he's got to figure out his footing there at Arizona. I think, but I think he's going to be a good coach. But I do have him at 12 right now. We'll have to see just how good he can do at Arizona and moving the program forward. Now, Arizona's got a hell of a team coming back. They've lost a few players. They lost. How many did they lose? They lost like
8.
Oh, I thought it was like 6. And they lost 8, but they do return the quarterback, right? So, am I right? The quarterback come back.
Players, Joey, and 2 of them were just attrition.
Yeah. So, but I've got a Britt Brennan that's at 12, where you had him at 13, and I really believe that that's probably too low. So don't get mad at us, Arizona fans. He could probably be better. It's just not enough there for me to see right now. That makes sense. All right, so I'll move on to my number 11, and my number 11 is Sonny Dykes of TCU. He was 2022 Coach of the Year. I mean, he took TCU all the way to the national championship game, right? But his average wins per season is only 6.8. I don't know. I know a lot of people are saying TCU is going to be back this year and do really good, and there might be a chance of that, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not. I don't think TCU is going to have that great of a year. So we'll have to see. I think Sonny Dykes is a great coach. Don't get me wrong. Just I think that he's having some trouble at TCU getting the players to play for him right now. To me, last year, because we played TCU, but players just didn't look like they were ready to play to me. And that took that, and looked at it and said, they look a little bit out of shape. They look a little bit slow compared to where they were the year before. In 2022, anybody remember when they played Michigan? Hell, Michigan couldn't keep up with TCU. They were so fast. TCU looked really slow to me last year compared to where they were. So that's where I'm worried about Sonny Dykes. So that's why I have Sonny Dykes down there at 11 in my coach's rank.
Joey, I was just thinking, I have the rankings, and I'm going to go through them all here of the winningest coaches. I'm talking percentage-wise in the Big 12. And you'll be surprised, guys. You'll be very surprised. But Scott Satterfield, who we had back, in the bottom, he's 5th on the list. But getting back to my number 11, I'm trying to think if I want to put him there or not. I might. No, I'm going to keep it the way I have it. Kalani Sitake at BYU. Guys, when they moved to the Big 12 in 2023, they're 5-7. So they haven't really had a good run. I think he's a good coach. He's a homegrown guy. He played fullback for BYU. I just like him. I couldn't put him any lower. The more I read about him, the more I'm like, boy, this is my kind of guy. So I'm kind of pulling for him. So Kalani, please give the Big 12 a good run this year and make a bowl. But here's the other thing, Joey, I want to say. I was looking at the wins. You know, we bitch about West Virginia being picked to win 6.5 games, and that's just because Pitt and Penn State is on the schedule. But out of those, the win totals for like FanDuel, 10 teams, if it goes by what Vegas and FanDuel are telling us, 10 teams are going to go to a bowl in the Big 12, and that's saying something. So for BYU's coach to be number 11. That's not really a bad, in 20, he was 21 and 4 from 2020 to 2021. And since he's taken over, what 8 years ago, he's been 61 and 41. That's not too bad. So we'll see how he gets acclimatized to the Big 12.
So that was your number 11. You want to go to give your number 10 too?
I'll give 10. Joey McGuire, Texas Tech. And, we talked about him last year being a good team that just didn't perform to our expectations. This is another year. I mean, he was assistant at Baylor, and then he was head coach at high school, kind of like Gus Malzahn. But, we'll see. He's in the middle because I don't hate him, but I don't think he's, flashy and fantastic. So he's at 10, right in the middle.
So my number 10, and I'm probably going to piss some people off with this, but Matt Campbell, Iowa State. And I know a lot of people have him a lot higher. Look, he was coach of the year in 2017. He was coach of the year in 2020. He's done an amazing job at Iowa State, but his average wins per season are only 7. So let's not think that he set the world on fire at Iowa State. They were a dumpster fire of a program, and he's done a good job bringing them out of that. But other than that, they're still just a 6 or 7 win team every year, in my opinion. We're going to see what Iowa State can do this year because I think they do have a lot returning and they're going to be a pretty good team. But for right now, because Matt Campbell was such a hot commodity back in 2020, after the 2020 season, right? 2021 rolled around. Everybody said, I remember reading things about Detroit Lions going to take Matt Campbell. Do you remember that? And I remember looking at that. I think he's fell off the radar since then. He's not in anybody's scope for a head coach. Probably should have took some money and run there. But Matt Campbell, number 10, Iowa State. Move on to number 9.
We must sleep on the same sort of pillow or something because we're thinking the same. I too have Matt Campbell. I have him at number 9. And, Neil Brown could have been there if they would have lost another game or 2 games. So,
well, who was your 10?
10 was Joey McGuire, and 9 is Matt. So Matt Campbell, Iowa State. Guys, come on. We got to remember though that over the last 7 years, 6 of their winning records that they've had a winning record 6 of the past 7 years, and it's because of him. So, I think they finished number 9 and won the Fiesta Bowl. Would they beat Oregon? What year was that? 2020? Guys, help me out. 2020.
Yeah, I think it was.
So, from 96 to 2006, Iowa State, I think only won 1 or 2 Big 12 games. So they went from shit to sugar, guys. So this is as good as it gets if you're an Iowa State fan. Other than
I don't want anybody thinking that we don't think Matt Campbell's a good coach. Look, when you're going through these rankings, I'm telling you, it's really tough,
Yeah.
especially when you get to this number right here, because when you're looking at about 5 through 12 in Big 12, you can pretty much interchange them.
Interchangeable. But Joey, the bottom four you can switch and turn, and you could shuffle them, and we'd be like, "That's cool. Yeah, that's about right." The same is true from like 5 through 9. I would argue 5 through 9. You could.
So I had Matt Campbell. I had Matt Campbell 9. I've got Neil Brown. I'm at 10. I have Neil Brown at 10.
Yeah.
He's doing good. I think West Virginia is on the move and moving up, and this is the reason I put him ahead of Matt Campbell, because Matt Campbell seems to be going backwards, and Neil Brown seems to be moving forward. So that's the only reason I have Neil Brown ahead of Matt Campbell, to be honest with you.
Okay. So talk about Neil Brown. You have him at 9?
Yes, I have him at 9. I think that he's got a good team coming back. He surprised everybody last year, picked 14th, and they finished 4th in the conference, won their bowl game, and made a massive jump. And they have 91% of their production coming back at West Virginia on offense. And I just feel like that's going to be enough to have another, 8, 9, 10 win season, at least 8, probably as much as 10 or 11 wins. So I really feel like Neil Brown at 9 is a good place for him right now, because I don't think he deserves to be any higher than this. But when I had to make a decision between him and Matt Campbell, between 9 and 10, I put Neil a little bit ahead of Matt Campbell, just simply because he's moving forward and Matt Campbell seems to be moving back.
Okay, I'm going to tell you who I have Neil Brown at 8. And the reason I have him at 8, and I have like Gus Malzahn is up higher than him, is because Neil Brown did not beat Oklahoma State like Gus did. So literally, if like Gus last year with UCF claw, of course I'm giving you my 2. Getting to that point, guys, where you guys are going to figure it out. So Neil Brown's at number 8 for me, simply because if he would have won that Houston game or that Oklahoma State game, guys, he would be a top 3 coach in my opinion. Now, is he a top 3 coach? Probably. Like, it depends on what time of the week you ask me, but based off of looking at these records of these previous coaches today, and just, Gus, coached at Arkansas, won some upsets there. He's at UCF. I think he's a good coach. Neil is a good coach, but he just doesn't have the experience. Gus was at Auburn too, and appeared in a national championship. 2013 or 14?
Yeah.
Guys, help me out. My memories. I think.
It was 2013 season. 2013, he was coach of the year.
Yeah, Neil has not been to the national championship. Gus has. So that's what we're getting into when we're picking these, and
yeah.
But and I think Neil Brown would agree with me.
I do too. And so I had Neil Brown 9. You had him at 10, right? No, you had him. What did you have? 8.
I had him at 8. Yeah.
Okay. And my 8 is Kalani Sitake. And the reason why is because he's been there for 8 seasons. He's averaging nearly 8 wins a game. 8 wins a season, I mean. He's got a really good winning percentage of 75%. So, you can say, well, Sitake's not a very good coach, and maybe he's not, but he sure is he's got a good record, and maybe the BYU hasn't been playing top dogs, but of the 4 newcomers,
because he's good, but he hasn't had any like huge splash wins, but he's good. If you were to give him to like West Virginia or to a Rutgers program or to like an Arkansas or a Pitt, they would take him. And they would be happy with that record.
He's the thing about it is at BYU, they were playing a group of 5 schedule, but not really. They're the 4 newcomers last year. BYU was probably only one I felt like that might be ready to take the step up to Power 5 football, because they played a lot of Power 5 schools out of the Pac-12, and things. They played Utah every year. They always played 4 or 5 teams out of the Pac-12, it seemed like. And then also they always played a couple of other Power 5 programs out there just, because they weren't in the conference. They could play anybody they wanted to. So BYU, I felt like was a great team to move up a level and felt like they were more ready. And now they didn't prove it last year. It was tough for them, just steps leading for them, just like it was Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston. But I think BYU is going to take a good step forward this year. Not seeing them win a lot, but I'm seeing them take a big step forward this year. And Kalani Sitake's my number 8.
I'm on 7 now, and I'm going to tell you Gus Malzahn is my number 7. So,
Mine too.
Okay, so we have the same number 7. So they went 6 for 7. They did beat Oklahoma State, which just blew my mind after they got their butts kicked. West Virginia, I've said this before, Joey. I think West Virginia just had a really good day, and UCF just had one of those days where they just couldn't get anything right. So it was a combination of that was a recipe for them getting whooped. But he's 24-16. So, they're in the right direction. Like I said, 2013, he was in the national championship game with Auburn. He's a big-time coach, used to big-time football, and UCF has the DNA to become a big-time program. If you think back and look at how history repeats itself, think of Miami in the 80s. You think, them building up to being the juggernaut that they were, or Bobby Bowden coming into Florida State. Gus might be that guy in Florida to have. They could have the best team other than Florida State in Florida.
Yeah, they really could. So like I said, I've got Gus Malzahn 7 too. And mainly because he's coached at Auburn, did a really good job, took a BCS championship appearance, and just one of them coaches that I feel like he's the perfect fit at UCF right now. And I think that UCF is going to have a much better improved season over last year. I don't think they're going to no conference championship. I don't think they're even finishing the top half of the conference. But I think they're going to have a better year than last year. So yeah, Gus Malzahn is my number 7 too. All right. So I'll go now and give you my number 6. And my number 6 is Willie Fritz at Houston. Now, I know he's not coached a single game in Houston yet, and y'all are going, why do you have him so high? I really like Willie Fritz. Remember, I told you this was a lot to do with my gut, right? He was the 2022 Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year. He was 9th in both polls in 2022. And this is at Tulane. So now he's coming to Houston. And I think that he's going to be really, really good. I really believe in Willie Fritz. He's got a 60% winning percentage. And so Willie Fritz is my number 6. And that's subject to change after this year, right? But I also knew this. I know what Neil Brown went through trying to rebuild West Virginia after Dana Holgorsen. So I think Willie Fritz is going to have his work cut out for him at Houston here for the next year or two. So I don't see Willie Fritz staying there. I think he's going to have to get rid of some players at Houston, like Neil Brown did at West Virginia.
I'll tell you what, you're preaching to the choir. I have him a lot higher than that.
Yeah,
I'm a big Willie fan.
I am too. Yeah, so that was my number 6.
What are we at? We are at 6, right? I have Sonny Dykes. Sonny Dykes, okay. Man, he's like bipolar coach, up and down, up and down. I mean, did good at Louisiana Tech, California not so good. SMU looked really good. Now he took TCU to a national championship game 2 years ago, and last year they looked like hot garbage. So flip a coin. What kind of Sonny Dykes are you going to get? It's just
one of us is going to be wrong. One of us is going to be wrong. I put him at 11, and you've got him at 6. So
yeah, but here's the thing, guys. 2 years ago, he had those guys playing ball, and not even 2 years ago, guys. It was like 20 months. If you go back and watch those games, they're a legitimate top 5 team. eyeball test on paper. They manhandled Michigan to get into that national championship game. That is not that far away in my memory. Okay, he has another 5-7 season this year. Sonny Dykes is going to number 11. So I'm not far off of what you're drinking. Yeah, but I've Sonny Dykes. So, who do you have next?
All right. So that was number 6. So at number 5, so we're getting in the top 5 now. I have Joey McGuire of Texas Tech. The biggest reason I have Joey McGuire because I know they were expected to have a good season last year and they fell apart. His recruiting. Joey McGuire recruiting has been off the friggin' chart. And so I just had to put him up there because recruiting is a big part of college football. And he's doing a really good job of recruiting. So I think he's trying to build something special and get his players in there. And so that's why I've got him up there. I think he's going to have a really good season this year. I think Texas Tech will have a good season, really good season this year. I don't think they're going to be playing for the conference championship, but I do believe that they're going to have probably an 8-win season. Texas Tech.
We're at number 5, right?
Yeah, that was my number 5. Yeah. So.
Okay, I have Chris Kleiman, Kansas State. Okay, guys, he took over for a legend, and guys, he had a great run at North Dakota State, and they were like the Alabama of that tier of football guys. But he's 39-24 Manhattan, but the last 2 years, 19 victories since 2022 is unheard of in Manhattan, Kansas. So we'll see if they can win more than 8 games this year. I have him there at number 5, and you want me to go to number 4 real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Your boy Willie Fritz at Houston.
So you're higher on him than me.
I am, man. Guys, that run he had at Tulane, it was a dumpster fire. I mean, terrible program, and he got those kids playing ball, and that in itself, that's where I have that little asterisk. This guy is a ball coach, and if you take a team that's an afterthought like Tulane, okay. And you go to Southern Louisiana, they're talking about one program and one program only. And to recruit to Tulane and get the caliber of players he did, and they won a Cotton Bowl and finished 9th in 2022, and in 2023 they had a run there where they're still looking really good. So, guys, he's a ball coach. Man, you're lucky he's not higher on my list. If he wins at Houston this year and wins 7-8 games, goes to a bowl game, he's going to be top 3 on my Big 12 list.
All right, we're down to the top 4, my top 4 now, and I'm going to tell you right now, these top 5 of mine. If you told me I had Joey McGuire at 5, if you told me I think Joey McGuire's number 3, I would agree with you. Okay, that's fine with me. So at number 4, I got Chris Kleiman, Kansas State. He had 4 national titles in 5 years at North Dakota State. He's a really, really good coach, right? I mean, that's something special there. But the things he's done at Kansas State too, because when Bill Snyder took over Kansas State, they were absolutely horrible. The worst Power 5 program in college football. Them and Iowa State, they were terrible. And Bill Snyder took them over, and they were just, he started building a program there and got them to where they were competing year in and year out. And they have just been so consistent. And then Bill Snyder retired, and they brought in Chris Kleiman this time when he retired. The first time they didn't, but brought in Chris Kleiman this time. I thought that was the greatest hire of anything that year. That was the best hire right there. Chris Kleiman to Kansas State. Fits in, great culture, fits into the culture, everything. So Chris Kleiman at number 4, and I'm going to tell you right now, don't be surprised if this end of this year he might be number 1, because I have a feeling Kansas State's going to make a hell of a run for the Big 12 championship.
This is where this gets hard, guys. and I'm putting him here at 3 just because he hasn't been. He hasn't had the breadth of experience of the two gentlemen that are ahead of him. But if you were to ask me on this show, I'm banging this guy's drum and I'm just singing his praises. It's number 3. I have Lance Leipold at Kansas. He just like Willie Fritz. He's basically got that dumpster smell out of the stadium. It doesn't smell like baby diapers and rancid fridge. It smells like winning, and I love the fact that what he's done there. And he was, he could have very easily been coach of the year last year. He coached at Buffalo for 5 years. It's Buffalo, but he had a winning record there. It's hard to win there. Why he's not even higher on the list is because of the fact that he doesn't have the breadth of keeping a program consistently at the top, playing big boy football. So sorry, Lance, you're at number 3.
All right, so that was your number 3. My number 3 is Mike Gundy of Oklahoma State. And I know a lot of people say, well, he should be number 1. Okay, that's fine with me. Put him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll be fine either way. Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State, is probably the most consistent coach in the country, without a doubt. Now, I don't mean like Nick Saban consistent, but I mean, consistently a good team that could beat anybody in the country on any given day, that's going to get out there and win you 8, 9, 10 games nearly every single year in and year out. And it seems like it doesn't matter how bad his team looks. Like last year at the beginning of the season, they looked horrible. Yeah. And they've done that before. And he just like flips them around, and all of a sudden they're pretty damn good. And they just start running through teams. So he done it again last year after looking bad at the beginning of the season. So without a doubt, the man, he's a man, and he's 40. Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, you got to give him points for the mullet alone.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I have to give you credit for that. But do you want to give us your number 2?
Yep, my number 2 is Lance Leipold of Kansas. And now, like I say, you could put Mike Gundy there if you wanted to. I've got Lance Leipold for the simple reason of what he's done at Kansas, because of the dumpster fire they were. They were absolutely so bad, and here he is in there just beating teams, and a lot of people's this year, a lot of people's got them winning the conference. I'm not saying Vegas or any of them do, but I mean a lot of just pundits and analysts out there say Kansas has a shot at the conference title. So Lance Leipold's done a really good job. He had 6 Division III national titles.
Right.
So he's decent coach.
Is the only reason that he probably is not higher on the list, because his bad back, and bad backs don't really go away. So, if he can stay healthy, then Lance has a chance of winning the Big 12. Yeah. It's a good pick. Well, yeah. I have news for everyone. I don't have a number 2.
Oh, you don't have a number 2? Who will you miss?
Number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Gundy and Kyle Whittingham. I was going to put Kyle number 2, but you know what, guys? Since 2004, he's had the Utes at 162 wins versus 79 losses. Back-to-back Big 12 titles in 21 and 22. A number 2 finish after 08, and they beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. As Mountaineer fans, we kind of know what that feels like. Just a year or two before that, West Virginia beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. So it's not an easy task to be an SEC school down there. So we'll see how it goes with the transition. I have him tied with Gundy. Now, Gundy, guys, you hit all the high points, Joey. He has been consistent. Even when they take a step back, they just, like they lost to South Alabama. I wrote them off. No, they turned around and his teams get better. A lot of teams are good at the beginning of the season, and through attrition, they kind of aren't as strong. His teams get better regardless of what happens to everybody has attrition from injuries. But year in and year out, you don't want to play an Oklahoma State team later in the season because that team's going to be a hell of a lot better than they were week 1 or 2.
Well, obviously I've only got one coach left, and so we all know that's going to be Kyle. I mean, because let's face it, Kyle Whittingham has just done such a great job at Utah. Won some big Pac-12 championships. One thing about them is last year going to Florida and losing, and Florida is a dumpster fire right now, and that kind of scared me. Makes me think, hey, is he going to really? Because look, let's face it, the Pac-12 was down for a long time. They were good last year. They had some good teams, but the Pac-12 was down for a while, and that's when he was winning the conference. Or is Kyle Whittingham going to be able to come into the Big 12? That's got a lot of really good, consistent teams that win 8, 9, 10 games every year. Is he going to be able to come in and do something? I don't know. It's yet to be seen. But right now, I think everybody in the room would probably say Kyle Whittingham's got to be the clear-cut number one for now. So.
Conundrum's right. They did lose to Northwestern. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, there's been some crazy losses, but then
but over
if you're going
20
to say that, you have to also say, well, okay, but Joey McGuire lost to Texas State. I mean, so that's why it's so hard to rate these coaches, and you can go through and say, well, this one should have done that. Well, guess what? Mike Gundy went down and lost to Florida, not just lost to UCF. I mean, not just lost to UCF, but absolutely got beat.
And they're like, I have two favorites on this list. Lance Leopold and Willie Fritz are probably the ones that just jump out. I'm like, man, I want to play ball. I want to suit up and play ball for those guys.
Yeah.
They just scratch that itch. But real quick, before we go tonight, I want to go through what the winning percentage are for each one of these cats, okay? That's like the top 6, okay? You know who the number one has the most winning percentage is Mike Gundy at 67.9%. This is as of last year, okay? So, and he's coached 245 games. Kyle Whittingham, 67.2. Gus Malzahn is 65.2. Chris Kleiman is 61.9. Satterfield is 60.5. Scott Satterfield. And then it goes down to Kalani and Neal all have 59%. But guys,
right, now the thing about it is, all those that you just listed mostly coached in Group 5 teams. Those numbers are from Group of 5. They're not in Power 5.
Gundy.
Except for Mike Gundy, right?
Yeah. So Mike Gundy and Gus Malzahn is, those are the two that just pop off the page at me when I was making my list. I'm like, my God, they've won so many games over a long period of time with different teams. Gundy's been with Oklahoma State since Price was a corporal, but
yep. I like both them coaches too. But all those coaches that you mentioned, with the exception of those two, they coach mostly Group of 5. And look, it's a lot different going through a Group of 5 schedule than going and playing a Power 5.
Yeah.
And I think there's just a big step up, and I think we've seen that last year with Houston, Cincinnati, UCF, and even BYU coming into the conference. All 4 of them were just terrible, just terrible. And I don't think it's looking too promising for any of them this year for me. I know everybody's got real high on UCF. I'm not. I'm just not high on UCF this year. I may be wrong. I may be dead wrong, but I'm just not high on them this year. But I do wish them a lot of luck. So anyway, that's our rankings. And like I say, one more time, a lot of it has to do with just gut, right? To me, that's why I did mine. It had a lot to do with gut. Then I had a lot to do with recruiting. Other than gut and recruiting, the other stuff was kind of small, the winning percentages, because you can't judge it because they're coaching group of fives. Even Neil Brown, he was what 38-6 or something at Troy, but you can't judge that and bring it over to the Power Five level, in my opinion. And at the Power Five level, Neil Brown's been consistently getting better, but still horrible for quite a few number of years.
I had no reason
So
to lose to Houston last year. That was probably one of the worst losses I've seen in quite a while. But looks like Clint's from Corvallis. We'll give him a shout out. Yeah, Utes have not won a bowl game in 5 years, but who's counting? Yeah, it's been 5 years since they've won a game, a big bowl game. So, yeah, Paxton says if you're talking coaches, Gus is top 3 easy. Yeah, I think that too. I mean, and and Willie Fritz just looks like a ball coach. He looks like he could just have a like he'd be wearing those athletic pants they'd wear in the 80s. They're like way too tight with 2 buttons.
and let's face it, we're both high on Willie Fritz because I've got him at 6 and you had him at 5, I believe. We're both really high on Willie Fritz, and he's not even coached a game in Houston yet. So
No, he hasn't. But I was high on him at Tulane, guys. That was on the Triple B show. I'd do a pick 'em, and I would always pick have as a marquee game to watch. No one would want to be picking Tulane, but I would always have them in my top 10 games of the week because he was just playing some fantastic football down there, guys. So
now, if you're watching this video later on, and even you guys in the chat, hey, go back into this video and in the comment section, give us rank your coaches. Tell us how you rank your coaches. And I guarantee you, they're not going to be too far off of how we've got them ranked here. When you go looking at numbers and trying to compare, and you've got to think about, are they in group of 5? Are they in Power 5? Who have they played? You got to look at that stuff and come up with your coaches. I'd be anxious to see everybody's, because I know a lot of people say they can't believe where I put certain coaches. A lot of people say they can't believe where you put certain coaches. I want to see everybody's coaches. So rank them for us. Put them in the chat in the comment section of this video. When this video gets posted up to YouTube and it's over here, go back. You'll be able to put them in there. If you put them in right now, you're going to go away. You're going to lose them, or nobody's going to see them.
hey, guys, we have a lot of folks watching and are commenting in the chat. But if you have not hit that thumbs up, smash the like button, like and subscribe, click the notification button so you know when we're going to bring you some content and you won't miss us, because we definitely miss you when you're not on here.
Yep. Well, guess we can wrap this show up. Had a good time.
It's a good one.
And yeah, I mean, and it was pretty neat the way we did it. We hit right on time. I mean, we generally try to end at 9:00, and here we are.
Yeah.
We're ended at 9:00. So anyway, guys, tomorrow night, Shane, tell them about your show tomorrow night, what you're going to do.
Tomorrow night, guys, we're going to be talking about, the expectations of the football experience. Okay. What it was, what it is now, what it's going to be in the future. Is it going to be the same product? Can you expect the same type of college atmosphere? Is that atmosphere going to change because everything's changing? So we're going to chat about that, my thoughts on that, my experiences as a fan, as a season ticket holder, as a father with a family now, as a student at WVU years ago. So we're going to go through that, run the gambit, talk a little bit about conference realignment. We can't have a football conversation anymore for more than 15 minutes without bringing that nasty topic up. And if and how, and I've been saying this since I've started on these shows 6 months ago, guys, the seismic shift is happening, and it's just a matter of when that big one hits, and it's going to hit, and it's never going to be the same. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow night.
Yeah. Well, so everyone, we appreciate you tuning in with us tonight. Be sure you hit the like button. Hit that like button on your way out. Be sure and come back into this video and leave in the comment section your team's top to bottom. And don't forget, last night we had Tony Creedy on the here in their Then and Now show from Mountaineer Locker Room. So go back and watch that if you didn't get to see Tony Creedy. Next week it's going to be Josh Eilert on the Mountaineer Locker Room show. Josh Eilert's going to come in, talk. Him and his wife going to talk about their time at West Virginia as the head coach, the interim coach, and and show your support to him. Let him know you appreciate him, because look, he was thrown into a fire. It wasn't his fault. He got thrown into a mess. So he did a good job. He did the best job he could. And then we also have Daryl Talley coming up on Mountaineer Locker Room too. I've reached out to WU. I want to get Chad Scott as well as Jordan Leslie on here and a few players. So we're going to get all that for you. We do have an interview with Neil Brown on here already, and I had an interview with Ren Baker last year. So you can go back and watch that when Ren Baker first got here. Matter of fact, I don't think he was even on WU campus yet, and he gave me the time to talk to him. So, all right, guys, we appreciate everyone tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed the show. And come back with us tomorrow night, or with Shane tomorrow night on the West Virginia channel. And everyone have a great night. I'm trying to find you a little outro here. Here you go, guys. Y'all have a good night.